we go. Boom.
Damn, I even full screen.
Watch him throw the ball, we gon' pick it off. You gon' let him hit the hole or you gon' cut it off. You gon' play through 4th and long or you gon' punt it off. Your defenders, heavy hitters, put your pads in. Don't be looking for the ref to throw no flags in. Keep the helmet on, keep the cleats tight. You the type to want to win by any means, right? You should look alive. This is Trap or Dive.
Yes, sir. Welcome back to let me move these borders right quick to another episode of Trap or Die Podcast, man. I am your host, Marley Mual, Coach Mual, Hen Dog Mual, all that good stuff. I think I was on tequila last night, so call me Keela Mual. This is obviously the Trap or Die Podcast, man. You can find us on Hogs Haven as well, SB Nation's blog site covering the Washington Commanders. I'm in here with the big dogs, man. Dre, AJ, and Neil. BTP, man, he had himself a long night, bro. You look like you had a long night too, dog.
I did, man.
You know what I'm saying?
I'm hurt.
But you here though, bro. You gonna knock out these few little minutes on the Trap or Die Podcast. So let me check in with you first, dog. How was your experience last night? Watching the game and working the 106.7 or 980?
I don't even know where I was on last night. I think it was 106.
It was all a blur.
Yeah, but no, it was crazy because we had that crazy ass delay for an hour and 16 minutes. So I was just sitting there and I get blown. So I'm like, I've been up all day. I'll get geeked up for game day. I was up 7 o'clock in the morning doing my little extracurriculars. And I'm cooling all day long waiting for the game. I go get some Subway before. And then I walk in and I noticed that the game's not even on. I wasn't even on Twitter, which is the crazy part. I didn't even get the little early scoop from Twitter. I had to find out myself. It was not cool. But it was cool once we finally got going. But it was late, man.
It took a while. It took a while.
It was a lot.
Dre.
That's what I just told you. I just woke up, man. But because I didn't plan on staying up to damn near midnight to watch a preseason football game.
I thought we were gonna be done at 10 o'clock.
I'm like Lynnell. I was actually up there cooking, but I was rushing because I was like, all right, game started 7:30. Let me get everything done. So, but I ain't gonna be done. But I got YouTube TV. I turned the game on and I see some damn Forrest and some other recordings and people showing cooking specials. I'm like, what is this?
NBC was tripping.
Yeah, I was like, what they showing?
I ain't gonna lie to y'all, bro. I was geeking so much, bro. I stayed on the channel. I watched that joint for 20 minutes.
You know what messed me up too, and this is something they're gonna have to fix soon, is that I forgot we don't get any more pregame coverage anymore because they don't have a deal with NBC Sports Washington because they call it Monumental. Yeah, so we ain't got no pregame coverage or nothing. So I'm like, I'm lost. I don't know what's going on.
You wasn't tapped into the stream?
Nah, because I was up there scrambling, cooking in the kitchen. You know what I'm saying? I wasn't.
Wait, so it's just YouTube now. The
I don't know if it was Twitter or YouTube, but it was something they had going on. It was all right.
So I would imagine it's probably directly, like you said, probably directly through their John. That's a good point because I was like, I ain't see no coverage on TV, so or no post game. Hey. But I do know post game is always easier because I either go to the radio. Or I know that they do the YouTube stuff, and that used to be the Fred Smoot jump with Cuz Scott Jackson.
Oh yeah. But this is something that Josh Harris is going to have to be one of his tasks. Like he's going to have to get some kind of network deal going. Kind of like what Ted Leonsis got. I don't know if he can get his own channel where he can get a 24-hour thing going, but they're going to have to get some kind of network thing going to get this Commanders coverage kicked off.
Yeah, this shit's weird.
Ted's monopolizing the joint. I don't like what Ted is doing. He's crazy.
Yeah, I was like, come on, bro. You know, we need football in our life, especially in the DMV, bro. Don't do that shit to us, dog. AJ, well, first of all, speaking of DMV, you know what I'm saying? AJ is out on West Bubba. Location unknown. But AJ, how you feeling, bro? You good, dog?
Hey, I'm in the furthest place of West Bumblefuck. So yeah. I'm in
he enjoying
Medellin,
life, man.
Yeah, I'm in Medellin, Colombia. So like yeah, I mean, everything's good, man. Can't complain. Delay of the game had me watching another game. I was watching the Lions and the Giants. You know, two guys that I like that the Lions selected was looking real good in their debut.
Branch, right?
Jahmyr Gibbs and Brian Branch. So
and Jameson Williams, that's his boy too.
Yeah, I seen him. He had a drop. Like as soon as I tuned in, he had a drop against Deontay Banks. He should have caught that, but
Banks was with him though.
Yeah, he was definitely.
James ain't trying to be great, bro. Jahan ain't gonna drop that shit.
Yeah,
it's like nah, I ain't. Or Drake London. It's like nah, I ain't even see the play, bro. But look though, fellas, I see everybody checking in. Hawk, Monty, Magic, Marcus, Amani. Monty said, "I'm up, man. Appreciate you checking in, bro. I know it's 8:00 your side, so appreciate you checking. Well, about to be 9, so I guess it's pretty. I guess it's you starting your day. Let's get the administrative item out of the way, man. Whichever way you are listening or watching, make sure you hit that follow, like, subscribe, all that good stuff, man. If you haven't done so already, rate and review if you get a chance, man. We definitely appreciate that as well. I see some of y'all have been doing that on the Apple side as well as Spotify, so I appreciate y'all showing y'all support in that manner. Keep it up if you can. But yeah, let's go ahead and get right into it, man. Last night's game was it was fun. I ain't gonna lie to you. Like my overall vibe, like just seeing the team get back on the field. I think everybody feels that way when preseason week 1 starts, just to see football. Dre, you was mentioning how you was on a timer, bro. Like you was talking about you was cooking, making sure that you had your situation all set up so you can sit down and have your food and watch the game. And for me, I think I forgot what I was doing. Oh, I was washing my car, washing my truck, and my dog. If y'all know Huskies and just big dogs in general, they shed a lot. And I ain't washed my car in like 2-3 weeks. No, I'm sorry, 2-3 months because of my foot. Fractured my foot. So all in all, it took like 2 hours for me to finish that. So like when I get home, I'm like, I ain't doing nothing else. Game about to come on. Let me walk my dog, and I'm sitting on the couch because I ain't going nowhere. And for all of that, like just to be locked in for a preseason game, man, it was just a fun vibe. And then the team like didn't start off too good, and I guess we'll go ahead and get into that now. But ultimately, they showed some flashes in some areas. But let's just go ahead and just tap into it, like from a general thought perspective. I thought Sam Howell throughout the day or throughout the night was pretty efficient. I think there's just overall theme about how the offensive line looked last night that I think is going to be a good conversation for us as well. But I personally, and we'll type into it, and when you get your thoughts, I personally thought that it wasn't a bad night in terms of pass protection from the offensive line, more so than it was like one person who struggled in Andrew Wiley. I think that was something that we can kind of project in terms of like, is it really a concern? I'm not too sure. It's only what they had 3 drives. So all in all, that having 3 drives to get 1 touchdown, it is what it is. But ultimately, they started clicking against the Browns' second team or third team, whoever that was in that second quarter. But I'll stop there in terms of my offensive side, the defensive side. I'll let y'all tackle that. I know that first unit, even though they had 1 drive, it was pretty alarming. The inability to tackle, secure the edge, get off blocks, especially in that first level, was something else. But I'll get a floor to you all. You can get your thoughts off on what you all saw in that first team. But now you go ahead first. Matter of fact, my bad. I'm sorry. Guys, go first, bro.
You good, man. We were doing offense. I thought.
Well, you can go. We can go around the whole.
I thought we just go overall. Then I guess I thought overall, like you said, I agree. I thought overall, like 1 through 50 or 90, whatever they got, they showed good depth. They were real competitive on each team. There wasn't like a big drop off. I thought between the 2s and the 3s on defense. That's something that we noticed throughout camp. I thought, like you mentioned, I thought the offensive line was surprisingly good, and it was an interesting challenge that they got to go against because Cleveland's got a good front, even though Myles Garrett wasn't out there. But you got to see Zadarius Smith up close and personal. That during the regular season, that Cleveland front is going to be nasty. They just signed Shelby Harris to the mix too, so. But overall, I thought, like you said, Maul, it was just Andrew Wiley sticking out like a bad thumb. And I don't want to – when you only have 3 drives and you kill 2 of them personally yourself, it's a really bad look. I was critical of that signing when they made it. His Pro Football Focus grade was not good last year. His pass block win rate was amongst the worst in all the NFL last year. So not really surprised. And it's alarming because you have really good pass rushers in this NFC East that you're going to see 6 different times. And not to mention the other defenses that we're going to go up against. So if he's going to be a big problem spot, he's going to be killing drives. I mean, I don't know what they're going to do because I didn't think Cornelius Lucas, who was the swing tackle, looked particularly good last night. So I think they do have an issue at tackle in terms of depth. Like you said, Sam Howell, I thought he was crisp. Ball gets out on time. The thing that I like about Sam Howell that I was, curious to see the accuracy in the ball placement because they're running this quick game, West Coast style offense. He's got to put the ball where receivers can have, opportunities to make run after the catch. And I thought he did that last night. The one play that I know everyone's highlighting, there was like a second level blitz that Cleveland brought and he didn't get it out to the flat quick enough. His eyes were in the right place. So I don't know why the ball didn't come out. It's something that, he's struggled with it a little bit during camp. So I definitely think that's an area where they want to get him to improve at. But I thought overall, like the operation was clean. His processing was good. I really do want to highlight the offensive line, though. And I guess I haven't watched the game back yet, so I can't see who they were going against.
Yeah, you safe, man. Yep.
Yeah, I thought they looked some of the pocket. One of the pockets he threw to Jahan on one of these balls, and the middle of the pocket opened up like the Red Sea. I thought he should have scrambled, but it just highlighted the pass protection last night. I thought it was really good. What happened on the first play of the game? Because that's the one thing that kind of alarmed me. It looked like Chris Paul got his wig split, and Brian Robinson was left in no man's land for a second. I thought they had a TFL on the first play, but outside of that play and then the holding penalties from Wiley and then in the end zone, I thought it was good on offense overall. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think for me, when it comes to the offensive side of the ball, definitely still seeing some things that, have me concerned with Sam Howell. And that's really like the playmaking ability to be able to play with the fact that these offensive linemen aren't going to be the best, especially Andrew Wiley. Lynnell kind of touched on it as well. You want to see him step up in the pocket more so than every time like things start breaking down, he's
bouncing
going
outside.
left to right. Yeah. Like you want to see him climb the pocket, and that's something that he had an issue doing at UNC as well. You also could tell that Bieniemy was trying to make it easy on him to read the coverages. Yeah. That's why the running back was always flanked outside and then came back in motion to the backfield so that he could identify what coverage the defense was in. Even though it's preseason, some people believe that things are vanilla, but I mean, you can still play zone in preseason. You feel me? And that was to help him identify on that particular play where he missed the running back in the flat. He should have known that was his hot read immediately based off of the flanking showing him that it was man coverage. For whatever reason, he didn't make that throw. But I mean, with Andrew Wiley, man, you already know what you're getting in that guy. So at the end of the day, you can't do but so much to protect him. I mean, you could line up a tight end there to help chip or running back to chip, but you also need your quarterback to be that difference maker offensively and understanding, I can't hold the ball but for so long. And I felt like in particular that holding that ended up being a safety, Sam did hold on to the ball a bit too long, and he probably should have climbed the pocket or just threw the ball somewhere near a receiver where it was an intentional grounding. But another major concern for me is the running backs, like the two main guys that we expect to get most of the carries, Brian Robinson and Antonio Gibson. I still don't believe that they fit within this offense and how they want to really call this offense. I understand that B-Rob has been doing different things in training camp. Lynnell, you've been there. Mual, you've been there a day or so. But I just don't see him as a threat necessarily in the running game or the passing game. So put him outside for me. Just really don't really move me. You feel me? I think the running back that looked the best last night, even if it was against second team, he showed me that he had burst, and that's something that I don't see out of Gibson and B-Rob was Chris Rodriguez. He had burst as soon as he touched the ball. Like he was moving. He was hitting them lanes. He was lowering his shoulder. He was being physical. I guess we'll see how B-Rob and Antonio Gibson look, against Baltimore in the preseason game, because I mean they can't really hit them in the joint practices, but we'll get to see them go against another strong front in Baltimore next week. But overall, offensively, man, I love the tempo that Eric Bieniemy brought to the table as far as calling plays. I love the play designs. I felt like everyone looked pretty comfortable in what they were being asked to do. Of course, you don't want to see John Bates drop that wide open ass catch, but it's also expected because you know that you have a weak set of tight ends. Jacoby Brissett threw a couple dots out there. He looked great in his debut. Of course, he threw an interception, but I mean that was like
I'm about to say, hold on,
though.
If we gotta acknowledge that pick, if we gonna nitpick on
I mean, I didn't really have a problem with the pick. It was like 14 seconds on the clock. Like,
nah, he could have 18, like 14 seconds, but you got 3 timeouts left, bro. In theory, if you want to execute, I mean, I don't think I don't think Bieniemy thinks it's a big deal either, like in the grand scheme of things. But if we're going to, because I can tell you, I was going to wait to finish, but Sam Howell on that sack that he took, that was a disguised blitz with a zone coverage on the back end. That wasn't really man coverage that you acknowledge. So I think those are like differences. And on top of that, I think what really hurt Sam on that play, because there's 2 instances where he saw things wrong and then he saw things right in similar situations. Where that first one where he took a sack was a disguised blitz from a second level. You got your linebacker blitzing and you got your corner blitzing where they're disguising it, but you got your edge rusher on the opposite side where the running back is going into the flats. He's dropping into coverage, so he doesn't see those things right there. But it's a zone coverage. It's not a man coverage. But then like on that the play where the ball got deflected to Antonio Gibson on that third drive where they scored. That was a all-out cover. Like you can see the pressure in front of them, and I think that's kind of the nuances between like somebody who's learning how to see things better and quicker, and trying to figure out like how to attack a disguise coverage versus what they can see in front of them. And Sam Howell was able to find that hot route ASAP to Antonio Gibson in that third drive. It just so happens that the ball was deflected, but he saw the cover zero in front of him. And I think those are the differences. Like it wasn't like, and on top of that, even the sack, the safety, Andrew Wiley got beat off rips. And I put this on Twitter for those who are listening, and those who are watching.
Hey,
right
you already pulled up all 22.
Yeah, he was
on it this morning, bro. I'm like, I just looked at the TV version. That's it.
Yeah. So, but I'm saying this to say, like Andrew Wiley really had. And Lynnell brought this up, and I 110% agree. Like your first 2 drives, bro, you're costing your team opportunities and literally points. You overset in that second drive, and you're going against Darius Smith, who's a dog and very smart and an intelligent.
I don't even want to cut you off, bro. To overset in that situation is the dumbest thing possible. What you're backed up against your old goal line. Like, why would you give him a straight line rush? Make him run around you. Make him take the longest route possible. That's just like not knowing. That's no situational awareness at all. Like that was
nothing else need to be said. That's literally it. You said it for me. Nothing else need to be said. And that's where I was getting to. Like for those things to point out the differences. I'm not trying to make we ain't making this a quarterback battle. Just saying Jacoby Brissett didn't have a great day. If we want to nitpick the Howell stuff, like Jacoby could have really put some more points on the board if he was more efficient on his final drive of his first game. I don't think that was a very smart decision to just say fuck it and throw the ball downfield the way he did.
But I don't know. Like I said, I don't have the all 22, but it looked like Pringle was open. Or
it was just a late ball.
It was late. It was definitely late.
It's crazy that he can even get that. I ain't trying to gas the pass protection, but I thought they did a really nice job all night. Like the fact that he was even able to be late on a deep ball like that and get it there shows he had time to throw the ball. I'm pleasantly surprised about the offensive line, but they didn't really go up against no bump. That's my only thing. But Andrew Wiley, like, if they had any type of formidable depth behind him, he's in trouble. He really is.
We were talking about that last night, Dre. Like, you was asking like who is his competition, and we're like they made their bed, bro. And if they want Lucas to be that swing guy, and Wiley just so happens to be like somebody who they see is not going to work out, they gonna have to say F it and bump Lucas up if he shows something. But
man,
yeah, I think it really
they
gonna put Sam Cosmi out there again at tackle.
That's what I was wondering. Are they done with him at tackle? Like, is that it?
Bro,
they can't keep
they're keeping Wiley at tackle because of the money. Like, they gonna keep certain guys in because of money.
Yeah, I don't take EB as that type of guy.
I was about to say,
I don't take him as that type of guy either. But like, him and Ron still building that relationship, so Ron still make those decisions, even though EB could be like, "Hey, bro, we gonna have to get a different unit here."
Who knows their relationship?
That's where the tension. That's where the tension going. That's where the tension gonna come into play.
The other free Nick Gates, I thought. One play stood out to me that like he kind of didn't do his job, but I wasn't watching him the whole night. The screenplay to Brian Robinson, like he's got to get out in front. He's got to haul ass.
Kyle said that too.
If he gets out in front of that, maybe that play hits for more. But like that's what I wonder if they're gonna like be this screen team that wants to have agile linemen up front. Man, get Ricky Stromberg in there, man. Like he's more mobile than Nick Gates is, man. And that play was a perfect example. Like his block is the key block on that play, and he didn't get out there. And this isn't even against I don't know. Was that the ones when that play was it like?
I think if it was the third drive, it wasn't.
I also seen Leno on that screen pass on the left side. He ain't touch a damn soul. Like he was just running freely. Like he ain't touch a damn soul.
Hey, Matt, let's pause right quick. I want to get Dre his thoughts in too. And then we'll circle back to I think some good things from Bieniemy, and then we can switch to the other side of the ball. But Dre, what's your thoughts on what this offense was looking like?
Well, for me, I didn't like how slow they started. I mean, because it was starting to be reminiscent of years past when they start off slow, and it's like, all right, are we going to go through this again? But then I did like this. Sam Howell never really seemed rattled, even though, the first couple of drives was derailed by Wiley, but Sam Howell seemed like he was calm and confident. Obviously he missed a couple of things. And with Howell, I'm looking at him, for the flashes for a couple of things. And he didn't go out there and shoot himself in the foot. And that was the most important thing in a preseason game, because you can go out there and you can look bad and you can give us more concern. But I thought he looked good enough to say, all right, well, maybe this guy can be a little bit of something, and I also thought Brissett came in and I thought he made us feel like if Howell isn't it, he's going to make us at least feel comfortable. Last pass aside, I thought he dropped some dimes in the bucket. He looked pretty good out there running the offense, but still Sam Howell didn't do anything to make us feel like, oh man, hey, we're gonna have to put Brissett in there early. Sam Howell went out there, like I said, he had poise, he was calm, he kept things afloat, and he went out there, he got a score. Jahan Dotson, man. Like I said last night, I think I got to get that guy's jersey, man. I think he's a star in the making. I've been high on him since they drafted him, but he just, if he's going to stay on the field, if he's going to be healthy, he's going to be a problem. I know we got Terry. I know Terry is that dude, but Jahan, he might be that guy that's going to be on SportsCenter weekly, just doing something.
Yeah.
He's that type of game breaker. I was hoping to see a little bit more Kaz Allen involved in the offense, but one thing that was confirmed for me watching the offense, that wide receiver battle, man, it is fierce, especially, from 5 on. It's going to be some guys battling. Pringle, even Tinsley made a hell of a catch yesterday, and I'm like, oh, that's the guy from Penn State, But yeah, it just looks like so many guys. It's going to be some hard cuts at that end. Dax Milne, I think he on notice, man, and he's a guy I like at receiver, but I don't like at returner. But again, you got some guys now that can return. Pringle can return, Allen can return. So if you wanted to keep those guys in the back end, but I mean, Allen looked a little explosive on the punt returns, the few punt returns that I saw him have. I mean, obviously the concern for us is the offensive line. The right side specifically. But I mean, again, what Lynnell, I didn't think they were as bad as a lot of people thought they were last night. I mean, I thought there was some instances where they gave good pass protection. I thought they were opening up some run holes. Again, Chris Rodriguez came in and he looked like he had a hole every time he came in the game, and he had the burst to go through it as well. Now, Cole Turner, I do think we're going to see a lot of him this year. I mean, I saw him make a couple of plays last night. John Bates didn't help himself with the drop. I think Cole Turner, is playing himself up. I don't know how long Logan Thomas is going to be up. Yeah, that's what Cole. I like him too. I mean, I've been liking him since Nevada, but again, he's a guy that we're going to need to see more of because, like I said, John Bates didn't help himself last night with that drop. I mean, we remember those type of drops, especially a situation like that. But Logan Thomas, you don't know how his health is going to stand up. We don't know how he's going to play throughout the year. But Cole Turner showing something is going to be a big thing. I mean, again, I was a little bit encouraged by what I've seen out of the office, especially from EB. I feel like they were dialing up some different things that we've seen in years past, even though it was preseason. A lot of people don't run too many exotic things, but I mean, I did like what I see, and I'm encouraged, and I'm waiting to see what this, these practices with the Ravens in the game going to be like Monday night.
On the Bieniemy topic, fellas, I think what's really impressive from him, I think the main thing we all wanted to see, like, how did that, and Lynnell, you have a better picture because you've been at a lot of practices, but how was the pace and tempo that Bieniemy was stressing in terms of pre-snap and organizing in the huddle? How does that translate to the games? And I think for the most part, there was nothing that seemed out of whack from the naked eye just watching it. I think everything seemed controlled and the tempo was very nice. I'll give you the floor there, but also that I want to expand on the topic is how Bieniemy was able to move the pocket around for his quarterbacks, get them on the move. You also saw some opportunities where he even utilized the pre-snap motions to work Cole Turner open. He was able to work mismatches with Jahan Dotson in the slot. And same thing with Bieniemy Brown on his one catch, having these routes where they can win their one-on-ones and the quarterback can really see and take advantage of those looks. So I'll give you the floor there, but what are your thoughts on Bieniemy and how he operated in his debut?
I think what you saw yesterday was like their base stuff offensively, like what they want to be. Like I said, in camp, it's been all quick game, a lot of screens. They've shown a lot of different packages in camp that they didn't show last night in terms of different personnel groupings. But you mentioned it, that the motion to identify coverage, I think if you look at Kansas City, like that is a staple of their offense. They do that for Pat Mahomes too. It doesn't necessarily give you the coverage, but it gives you an idea whether it's man or zone. And I think that's good for a young quarterback. One thing tempo was interesting to me because I feel like I'm a nut for even saying this. I'm not trying to be a hater. On the play where Wiley jumped overset, like they had an issue. They had the wrong personnel on the field and everything was rushed. And I don't know if that led to him oversetting. But if you go back and watch that play, the wrong personnel grouping was in and somebody had to run in at the last minute. And I don't know how that impacted things. That might have been the first throw, actually. So it might have been because they had two plays backed up against their own goal line. One of them, though, they had an issue getting the guy in and out of in the right personnel grouping. And then there were a couple of times, I think, where the play clock got a little low for their liking. Like, I know they want to move with tempo. Like, that's what Kansas City does. And it's kind of weird because it's a stark contrast from what Washington was last year when they led the league in time of possession. But overall, like you said, I thought the quick passing game is going to be the staple of their offense. And I think the move in the pocket thing is going to be interesting because the one thing I don't like philosophically about sprint outs is that you're kind of ignoring the back half of the field. And if the first read's really not open, it's tough. And you now got a bunch of guys in a small window and maybe someone tips a ball and it ends up picked. But I think all in all, during the season, we're going to see so many different personnel groupings from them. And I think they're going to run the ball a lot more than people probably are looking at. The Cole Turner thing, he was the block on the Brian Robinson toss. Like last year when he was introduced, it was so weird. Like In camp, he was this pass catching phenomenon. And then as soon as he got healthy during the regular season, it was him on these sift blocks coming across the line of scrimmage, ear holing people. And he showed that he's tough, man. And you talk about John Bates, like Cole Turner might be just as good of a blocker as John Bates, man. He does a really nice job getting himself in position, and he catches the football. Like that Bates drop that hurt my soul, even though Wiley ruined the play anyway. But you got to make that Sam through a dot. And like that's the route that they run all the time in practice. Like their tight ends are being run on these corner routes, and they're winning. And Bates was wide open, and he dropped the ball. So that was kind of a concern for me. But I like
drop the church's money.
Yeah.
Shout out to Dees Joint, man. For sure. What do y'all think, Dre, AJ? I know you spoke on it a little bit, AJ, just in terms of Bieniemy, but a little bit detailed in his debut. How do y'all think he did in preparing his offense?
I mean, it looked good, especially when you've been stuck looking at Scott Turner's style offense for the last 3 years. It looks like a modern NFL offense. You feel me? From the play calling, the design, everything. You know, I'm just intrigued to see how much even more he dials it up next week against Baltimore Ravens on that Monday night game. Because as we all know, that's a dress rehearsal for regular season. So, ready to see more jet sweeps and everything else that he has going on. I think we all know that the screen game will be prevalent within this offense. A lot of quick game overall, because
I honestly think that's a priority too, AJ. Just to add, like I really do think. I mean, we all know screen game is important, but I think for Bieniemy and how they utilize it at Kansas City and how like that is a staple of even just what he wants to do, they got to get that shit fixed ASAP. They didn't look good at all yesterday.
Yeah, and I think EB understands his offensive line isn't the best, so as many ways and as many places he can dial up to get the ball out of whoever's going to be the quarterback, which is more than likely going to be Sam Howell, get the ball out their hands as soon as possible and put it in their playmaker hands, whether it be Terry, Jahan, or Curtis. That's what they intend to do.
Yeah, for me, I actually like last night the accountability he was holding the offense to, because a lot of times coaches will take their starters out after one drive. Even if they don't look good, they'll just take them out. Like, especially in Sam's case where he was taking a couple of hits, they could have easily said, all right, we're just going to sit him out. It's the first preseason game. Hell, I watched the Falcons game yesterday. Desmond Ridder didn't even play. And I'm like, why is that guy not playing in preseason? So, but Sam Howell and him, he sent the offense back out there 3 times. They went out there until they got it right. So that goes to show you that, he's not just resting on his laurels. He's saying, hey, man, you got to go out there and show me something. That's the accountability level that you see with him. And that's one of the things that I really look for, because, even though we can see some of the things that he's doing, he's trying to dial up something creative, he's not going to do too much in preseason. I'm waiting to see game 1 how he's really going to use guys. Like, I expect to see Antonio Gibson lining up wide a few times. I mean, I expect them to see a couple, them use a couple of guys in different ways. But for now, and I just do like to see that he's holding guys accountable. And he's also, even though, like I say, he's not giving too much, you can see some of the creativity in what he wants to draw up and how he's going to get guys schemed open. But I did like, too, the short game, even though we got to clean it up. There's some things that's not working there. But I did like to see that that's what they're going to lean on, at least, early on with Sam Howell in the offense. Because, again, that's what they did do in Kansas City. And, maybe that's something they're going to implement a lot more here.
Defensively, fellas, yeah, I don't know what was going on. I remember tweeting, I got my eyes on what's that dude name that replaced the middle linebacker Cody. I was like, I had my eyes on Cody Barton, because that first drive, something wasn't looking right with him. And similar to I haven't got to the defense side of the football yet in the all 22, but like watching it from the naked eye, I just seen what looked like him just being a little bit slow to the ball or just out of position a couple times. I'm not gonna say all the time, but I saw it a couple times to the point where I had to tweet that. Overall, we saw some moments where those running backs and even Deshaun Watson had some success scrambling, but the running backs was able to split some tackles, get some, really just gash them on the edge. Well, they had their way, to be honest with you, on the edge and in between the tackles. So I guess that was just what it was. I like how they recovered at the end in their goal line stand. Shout out to Emmanuel Forbes like getting his hands dirty, getting in the mix as a skinny rookie. But like it was kind of just it threw me off. I don't think it's alarming. Like if it's a scale of 1 to 10, I think it's at like a 2 or 3. But I think to see it in the first game was probably the one where it's like, damn, like, bro, what y'all been doing? Y'all been crushing this. Y'all been crushing this Commanders offense all or training camp, and y'all come out looking like this. Like that was kind of the thing that probably just shook people and made them take a step back. Like, what the hell just happened?
Yeah, well, I'm at like a 5 on my alarm
5,
scale,
okay.
only because that's the reason they didn't make the playoffs last year. New York, San Francisco, Cleveland gashed them in the running game. On the edge, specifically, the Ray McCloud 71-yard dinger. It ended up making their average for the day 6.3 yards a pop. Saquon got loose in that Giants game at home on Sunday night. And then with Nick Chubb and this exact Browns offense did to them in Week 17, like, that's why I'm sounding the alarm. You can't have your bugaboos from last year during the crucial part of your season resurfacing in the preseason. And I haven't gone back and watched even the TV copy back, but looked like they didn't do a good job setting the edge. It looked like the slot guys weren't run fitting. The linebackers, it felt like were just slow getting over. Like, and it's weird because that some of it happened when they were in a 5 down front. So it's like, how you got to make the play. It's your play to make, man. Everybody's eating up doubles for you to go run and chase ball, and you're not doing that. So yeah, it was interesting. I don't know what's going to happen with that because I was alarmed by it because you shouldn't be getting on the edges on this defense as easy as they did, especially when you have all the resources invested on this side of the ball. Like, I appreciate them getting the goal line stop. That's fine, but if that wasn't even Nick Chubb. Wasn't even Chubb. Yeah. It was Elijah Moore burning you on the edges. Like, and then in between the tackles, I don't know who the running back was, but it wasn't Chubb. So tackling is an issue. And I figured that to be the case in the first preseason game. It kind of always seems like it's that way for every team. But that's something they got to clean up. They can't start off slow defensively. They can't. Like, this is why anyone has any type of hope for this football team, because we think this defense is going to elevate into a top 3 unit. And last night was not a good showing. I'm going to be straight up with you. That first team defense should be pissed the hell off about what they did. You got to get off blocks. You're getting beat at the point of attack. Like, that's supposed to be the strength of this football team. So hopefully it's just them knocking the rust off and they get back to it, which I think they will, because the talent overrules a lot of the time in sports, man.
Can't duck Baltimore anyway. Can't duck them.
Can't duck, exactly, and Baltimore going to expose it because that's what they want to do. They're not hiding. There's not no state secret that they're running the ball. They're going to come smack at you. So we're going to see, man. The linebackers got to get turned up. Like Cody Barton was non-existent. I feel like I didn't hear his name called.
Oh, so I'm not tripping on Cody. Like I
didn't think I heard his name called once.
I only saw it one time. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Flash ain't hear his name called, man. Got a flash in those situations.
Yeah, I mean,
fellas, AJ.
I was gonna say we can't sleep on Cleveland Browns' offensive line either. They got a solid core over there in Jedrick Wills and other guys.
That chase move is like that, man. I'm telling you.
And yeah, and they played their starters. Like I believe everyone from their offensive line started last night. I mean, with the defense, man, a lot of people go to the stats, but I don't know if I necessarily see like a top 5 defense whenever I watch the games from even last year. You feel me? Like, I just never seen it that way. But I don't know what they're going to do at the linebacker position. It's just interesting overall, man. Like, the questions that came in when Ron Rivera took this job still loom over this team. And that's quarterback, offensive line, and linebacker. Like, you still don't really know what you're getting from any of these groups in particular. Cody Barton, I don't know. Maybe it's an adjustment for him. I don't really know much about him as a player. I mean, from the little tape that I watched after he signed, because I didn't really know about him, you know, he seemed like a guy that diagnosed plays pretty quickly in Seattle, but that could also come with the familiarity of being in that defense for a long time. I think from the little tidbits I've seen coming out of camp, he's kind of been running with the twos here and there. You know, he just kind of seemed to not have his footing yet. And that's what's, you know, going to always hold back players from being able to play fast. I mean, you also seen it with the second round pick in Quan Martin. you know, Maul had his experience where he liked his tweet because he mad about the commentary, which is
he liked one of your
concerning.
Yeah, man. He said, well, somebody made a video of his
Somebody
likes.
made a compilation.
It's probably still up there too. Yeah, of all of his like section on his Twitter page, and I said Quan is having some issues in his first game, and other people were 10 times worse than me, but he liked all of them. He just searched his name and liked all of them things, bro.
Yeah, but I mean, overall for the defense, I guess it's really hard to provide full commentary on them because you want to see them playing more series as a collective, and that's where I feel like these joint practices for next week and also the game against the Ravens is going to be a big storyteller for how things should look, because in Baltimore, you got a dynamic quarterback. You got a bunch of running backs over there. You got an elite tight end in Mark Andrews, who's going to be covering that guy. Then you also add in an OBJ, Zay Flowers, Bateman, Nelson Aguilar. They're going to be going against a solid offense. You feel me? That's also adapting and trying to get their things in order as they have a new OC in Todd Monken, just like how Washington has a new OC. But yeah, at the end of the day, you just want to see them play faster as a unit. I didn't really see that out of you know, the couple series that they played as far as the starting unit, and that's always been my concern with Jack Del Rio's group. I just don't think they play fast enough. I think too much is dependent on the front four. Also seeing Fedarian Mathis get hurt. I don't know what's the story behind that. Man, honestly, if I'm gonna keep it a buck, bro, I'm just so disappointed in these last 2 second-round picks that they've made, because I really do not understand the purpose of Mathis or Quan Martin selections at all. Yeah, I don't get it, bro. But you know, at the end of the day, I didn't see Kendall Fuller, so I don't know.
Well, he hasn't been practicing. He hasn't been practicing either. So I think they he's just resting. Okay. Or he may be a surprise cut depending on what happened. I don't know. It's weird that he's not playing because he don't get reps in practice either. He takes when I'm out there, he's never out there. Like he's practicing, but he's not running during 11 on 11s. He does some 7 on 7 stuff. How long has that been going on for? All camp. He's been resting all camp. It feels like.
Is he hurt?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe it got something to do with his contract, man. He wants an extension.
Maybe
it is weird though
to trade him or something, but because it was weird to me that I seen the starting cornerback unit was Forbes outside, Danny Johnson outside, and Juice at the slot.
I also think they want to get a look at Danny Johnson. I'm telling you, that 4, 5, and 6 at corner, Christian Holmes, Wild Goose, Danny Johnson, Tariq Castro-Fields, like those are the 4 names that I think are battling for the bottom of the corner depth. And I think they wanted to see Danny Johnson get some bump because they got to figure out who's the first corner off the bench. That's what I think they're still trying to decide.
Gotcha. So yeah, I mean those are the things that I've seen from defense, but like I've seen, like I feel like we'll know so much more about this team from both sides of the ball, offensively and defensively, against the Ravens.
For me, I'm gonna say this about the defense, man. Like I can't be as lenient on them because I have much higher expectations for them. You know, I know AJ said that the Browns have a solid offensive line. Well, we're supposed to have a fearsome defensive line. So it's about time we start winning. Regardless of if these teams have solid or good offensive lines, it's time for that fearsome defensive line to outmuscle these guys, even if they're solid or good. That's what we built this defense around. We built this defense around having this line, even drafting Fedarian Mathis last year when you had a luxury of defensive tackles. I mean, you expect those guys to win a lot of those battles. And the thing that's been getting us, because the defense has supposed to have been the strength of this team for the last couple of years. And in the last couple of years, they've started off really slow on defense. I mean, they've given up a lot of points, a lot of yards early on in the season, and then they usually, level out and get better as the season goes on. But we can't really afford that anymore with this defense. It's time for them to, show from day one that this is the strength of this team. Yeah, they're killing this team on offense and training camp, but when it comes to other teams, when you start off the gate, they're coming out and they're running all over us. And that's the thing that really bothers me. You know, you got Deshaun Watson. He's out here. He's not Lamar Jackson by any means, but he's escaping, pressure, and he's evading guys, and he's rushing for first downs. So imagine when you do get out there against the Lamar Jacksons and the Jalen Hurts, those type of guys. We're playing those guys this season. So, I'm a little concerned, even though they weren't out there for long. But you don't want to see these guys start off slow again. It's hard for me to kind of brush this away as, it's just preseason. It's just game one. They only played one series, because we've seen these slow starts before in the past. So, I'm a little skeptical, but again, I am still, excited and intrigued to see them as a unit for a full game, because, I really want to see a lot more Forbes, man. I loved how he came in and made that tackle on the goal line. I mean, I think that guy, he's more physical than a lot of people try to give him credit for, because of his, his frame. They say, this guy's not going to come in for tackles. It was really encouraging to see him come down on the goal line and be physical right there, him and Curl on that stop. But I do want to see them more as a unit. Obviously, we want to see what the linebackers are going to do. I mean, Cody Barton, as you guys said, he didn't have the greatest of games last night. We're still waiting on Jamin Davis to be that guy. I was even trying to pay a little bit of attention to Khaleke Hudson last night, but I have to watch it again, because by the time he got in the game, or by the time I really started focusing on him, the liquor started hitting me. So, so I'm gonna rewatch it, try to check those guys out. But yeah, I mean, I want to see more, but again, I am a little skeptical.
Yeah.
I ain't gonna lie. So 2 things. First off, that man Khaleke, bro, it's hard. He is so small on the field, bro. Like, and I don't know, like it just throws me, like, because I've seen it in preseason, like, and obviously he played in the regular season too, but just seeing it, like visibly seeing it sometimes when he goes up against those offensive linemen, like in space versus like in the trenches, like in the box, it's just like, God bless him. I saw a couple of times where he was on the perimeter, and trying to like hold the point, and it didn't work out for him. Actually, I think I saw it 1 or 2 times. I don't remember, but anyway, point being, that's one thing. Second thing is, I don't have too much to say about like the whole unit. It's good to see Percy Butler make a play and damn near house it. It's good to see that. It's good to see Christian Holmes make plays at the catch point, dislodging the football after people caught it with like just his physicality. That's good to see as well. Andre Jones is another person that I think of with the on the line who was really making some plays, and I think one of the things that's going into that game, fellas, was that I thought the one practice that I did go out to before the games, our preseason game, Andre Jones was a person who, like, I heard when the pass came on, like he was like, I heard it from where I was sitting at in the bleachers, like he was cracking helmets, bro. Like the pads was cracking with Andre Jones, and that was something where I was like, all right, well, I don't hear no KJ Henry making noise like this, and I think that's like a battle that's kind of sneaky between two rookies playing the same position in terms of like edge rushers for Washington. I think it's going to be one or the other in terms of like an active role, maybe, if I had to guess. But Andre is a person who stood out last night, and that's 1-0 in terms of the Andre versus KJ. And then lastly, my thing that you already talked about, Lynnell, is like I'm really gonna. I don't want to make a story out of it right now, but I'm actively notating Kendall Fuller. I'm putting him in my notes because I don't know what's going on. Like you all said, I'm not going to revisit the whole conversation, but I just think that the less we hear about Kendall and the quiet as he is, the more I'm going to start paying even further attention to him. So if something doesn't change this week, I'm really going to start talking about Kendall.
Yeah, because you can ask anybody that's been out there. Like he gets a lot of vet days. I think they're just. I think it's that. Like maybe they're preserving him. I don't know if his roster spot's in jeopardy. Like he's a good player. He's gotten beaten in camp a couple of times. Bieniemy did him the dirty way. He went up on Bieniemy. Bieniemy went up on him 2 different times. I don't think it's performance though. I lost my train of thought. You said something that hit me. Oh, the edge rusher spot. I thought Casey Toohill stunk last night. He was awful. Like he got flattened on one play. He didn't set the edge on a couple of these runs. And I just feel like maybe KJ Henry and Andre Jones both make it, because I think Andre Jones is going to be a special teams demon. And as far as going out and just cracking people, like you said, maybe Casey Toohill's roster spot is in jeopardy because James Williams flashed. We know F.A. Obada's making the team. The numbers game at that position is going to be really interesting because if they're only going to – I keep saying number 4 for linebackers. I'm keeping 3. I need my safeties. I need my defensive linemen. I just think the linebacker position just isn't that important. But we see last night when you don't have a quality one, what it can mean for you. But I just think in today's NFL and the type of safeties that they have, and all 4 of them can play, talking about Reeves, Curl, Forrest, and Butler, I just use my safeties more and start phasing the linebacker position out, which they're kind of already doing. I want to talk about the cornerback battle a little bit more, because I really do think like that spot is going to get interesting from like a numbers game. And I think last night, part of not playing Kendall was seeing what you can get out of Danny Johnson, like what he looks like. He was injured a couple of days during practice, and I thought Rashad Wildgoose was starting to ascend a little bit. But then last night, Christian Holmes, I think, if I'm not tripping, has the most picks right now in camp. So he's got his hands on 3 or 4 interceptions already. So it's kind of like a continuation of what we've seen from him out in camp. And it's been the same thing, him driving on the football. And, like, I'm not trying to overstate it or like make too much of it. You might got to put him on the field, man. He's driving on the football better than all of them. Like, the way that he's playing with his eyes and understanding the defense, like, he's a smart dude. Played 4 years at Oklahoma State, like, maybe this is just him coming into his own. The body was there. I think last year we saw some of his flaws because of technique. Like, physically, we know he's a specimen. He can run. He's big. But last year you saw him get handsy. I think the technique is better, and he's just playing with his eyes. And you saw it last night.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely had Holmes as a guaranteed cut on my list. I
think the last time we was on here, we was talking about Christian Holmes.
Yeah, I definitely had him as a guaranteed cut. But I mean, last night, he looked explosive attacking the ball. Even if guys were in possession to catch the ball, he definitely did a good job of deflecting it and playing fast.
It's just one of those days, man. Baltimore is what? The Tuesday, I think. It starts Tuesday.
Tuesday and Wednesday.
16th. Tuesday and Wednesday.
So it's only 2 days?
And 16th. Yeah, it's only 2 days.
Yeah. 15th and 16th. And then we got the Monday night game, man. Okay. Any last thoughts? Hey, chat, if you're still in here, man, let us know who your most impressive players were, or most impressive coach, if you want to go that route too. Or I guess Bieniemy, rate him if you want to, but let us know your thoughts in the chat. Reminder, like, subscribe if you haven't done so already. Appreciate that as well. But any last thoughts that we got on the game or what we're looking forward to this upcoming week? I know we're going to do a podcast anyway, Jerry, AJ, next week, but any early thoughts on Baltimore week?
Dress rehearsal game, man. That's my early thoughts, man. I'm always excited for this game in the preseason if I'm not excited for any other game, because it's the game you're going to see your starters the most. You know, it's the game where you think you're going to see a little bit more. Maybe they're going to show a little bit more because they're trying to see what they're getting ready for in the regular season. And I hope it goes a lot better than last year's dress rehearsal game against the Chiefs, man. So,
oh Lord,
go Commanders.
I want to see how they treat the dress rehearsal, because they do have these 2 practices with Baltimore. I hope they don't do the stupid thing and try to not play guys because you practiced. I think Eric Bieniemy's style, though, is going to rub off because Kansas City plays their guys during the preseason. Like, that's a staple that they do. Like, Pat Mahomes is starting on Sunday. I heard Ron say it in the press conference, and I don't think anybody picked it up. I think he had alluded to them playing in the 3rd preseason game as well. This was last week, I believe, that when he said that. So I'm excited.
I like that.
So I would love to see them play in all 3 preseason games. Just to,
he's tripping.
When you start off slow like that, you got to do something different.
He's tripping about the 3rd preseason game.
He said it. This is his work. Well, he does get up there and geek sometimes, but I wouldn't mind it. Like, you just got to get reps, man. I think you can't be worried about injury. That's why I'm glad he decided to play him last night and then get scared because it rained a little bit. Like, that whole notion of trying to protect guys. You play ball, you got to play. Injuries happen, man.
No, I'm
so you get hurt on the first game.
Cool with it. I'm cool with
first
it.
play, my bad.
The first 2 preseason games, the third preseason game, hell nah.
But
like,
AJ, that might be a Bieniemy thing. Like, I don't think Ron is really notable for playing his guys in the last preseason.
It might be
if they do. I think it's an EB thing.
Hey, I got to go try to find the clip.
And I would tell EB, you tripping, my boy. Like, I tell him the same thing. Like, at the end of the day, I think the best test that they're gonna get is out of Baltimore. I wouldn't force myself to play the starters against the Bengals.
But you know what they're gonna say if they play the starters, they're gonna say, "Oh, I told y'all EB coach is too hard."
Yeah,
of course. I mean, that's the storyline going forward.
Because Baltimore's not playing their guys today.
Yeah, because they preparing them for the second game and the joint practices because they know the intensity. Like, what people don't understand about the Baltimore and Washington thing is it's deeper than even just football, man. Like, it's been like that for years. Like, guys been sharing girlfriends. They've been talking to the same chicks because they all in the same area. The Ravens party in DC. They don't party in Baltimore. So they all familiar with like the same people. It's deeper. So it's gonna be heated out there. Like, I'm
curious to see. They lucky that if 9-9 got a stinger and he can't practice, they lucky. Because that's the dude I see getting into a fight. Like, he be faking, bro. Like, I don't know if y'all were watching even the Chase, bro. Chase is just faking, bro. Like, he just got this, I call it like a star quality, man. I don't know what it is. I rock with it. I would love that on my team, man. He would get me turned up. Like, he just goes in with that mentality that they ain't going to be scared of nobody. I love that. They better not ever get punked with him on the field because he be talking his shit.
They need that voice.
Yeah.
Yeah, you need dogs, man. Like, they definitely lack dogs. Like, you got...
Hey, Payne be talking this shit too, though. Deron Payne.
Well, Bulldog fan.
It's like you just hope that you can get more dogs on the offensive side of the ball at some point too. But I'm definitely excited about the joint practices. I think that's something that they've been lacking the past couple of years, not doing it. I'm glad that it's back, and I think it should actually become a series that it's always a joint practice with the Ravens. It just makes sense from a logistics standpoint, being in the same metropolitan area somewhat.
That's a fact, man. All right, that's gonna wrap it up for us. Appreciate everybody who watched, listened, all that good stuff, man. We will be back. I forgot what day we said we'll be back next week. We'll be back next week. Matter of fact, let's shoot for maybe Wednesday after we can get some word from the joint practices. That'll probably be a good idea, Wednesday or Thursday. So we'll be back midday next week. But now I want to give you the floor, man. Plug anything and everything that you got going on, big dog.
What's my handle?
He don't even know. He out of it.
Yeah, NELL_BTP on all social media. We got YouTube coming too, man. So we got some stuff coming up here soon. I'll definitely want to have y'all involved in that as well. Tomorrow I'm on 9 to 1 on 106.7 The Fan. I'll have a chance to watch the game over, and I'll probably be salty because I don't think I'm gonna like what I see from the defense, man. So I'm excited to do that. But yeah, I appreciate y'all having me as always, man.
Yes, sir.
Already, bro. Anytime, man. That's gonna wrap it up for us. Y'all take it easy. Enjoy y'all Saturday, man. We out of here. Peace.
Yes, sir.